Lattice has been, in transition, new leadership. Jim Anderson went over to Coherent. Now you got Assam leading the charge. We had the chance to speak to him on earnings day. They're still where they're still kind of in this position of digging out right now. The FPGA space was sort of interesting because it held a little bit longer. They were pretty well diversified in industrials and comm and PC and devices and data center. And so if you actually remember when other chip makers and memory all started tanking, Lattice had like 3 or 4 quarters that they kept going up. And it was like, wow, it was like 11, 12 record quarters in a row. Yeah. Well, those chickens have come home to roost. And I mean, the last 3 have been pretty rough. And, I'm looking for the good spots in the business. I think the best thing that I could say about their print was better than the other FPGA businesses right now.
Xilinx and Altera, AMD and Intel their FPGA businesses are pretty bad. They're
even worse.
The general trends are the same. By the way, you can look at the other analogs, the guys that do industrial and auto. It's not great out there right now in those broader diversified markets.
It's not. By the way, when Qualcomm showed its big IoT number, I said to Cristiano, I said, I don't get it. I said, I don't see any data that's showing strength. And then he reminded me about the XR business, and I'm like, got it.
Consumer's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Like in PCs and smartphones and XR and tablets, those already collapsed, right?
Yeah.
So you've already hit bottom. We've had in general kind of an asynchronous kind of cycle.
Right.
Where the different end markets have been rolling over and bottoming at different times. So it has the effect of actually elongating the whole thing.
Yeah.
But depending on where you're exposed, you could have already seen it or it could be still to come.
So with much of Lattice's stuff sitting in industrial, automotive, communications, they just have a lot of parts of their business that are down. And industrials has been tough. Comms has been, it's funny, you said T-Mobile's actually up, but comms, like the actual hardware comm space has been a mess for just a long time. And so, the overall space, Lattice, I think, is managing it well. They've been able to protect their margins, keeping it close to 70%. They're still delivering. But they had such a run up that on a year-over-year basis, it just looks terrible. And so, they're performing, they're operating, they're managing, they're expanding their TAM with their mid-range, their mid-range products. And overall, like I said, I think it's as good as they could do given circumstances. They're not a huge company. But in this case, maybe that's playing in their favor. They're in that space. They're focused on it.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's not anything that's specific to them. It's just like, again, the markets are weak and they overshipped, just like a lot of folks did. And so you have to work that off. It takes time.
Yeah, this I do the self-inflicted, market-inflicted, and absolutely market-inflicted. You compare, like you guys said, to Altera and AMD, and they're down less, and they have been down less. The thing that's really interesting here is that all of their business, 99% of it right now, are these lowest power, small FPGAs with small amount of LUTs, and they're doing now with Avant mid-range, which very small percent, super small percent right now. So it's all upside, and they're going after AMD and Altera with brand new designs in leading edge fabs. And by the way, FPGAs, we're not talking about 3 nanometer here, okay? And anything smaller than like 22 is small. And I think that's big. The other thing that I find interesting, it's not just about the hardware, is the attach rate on the software. I think the company said they have a 50% attach to their software, and that does 2 things. First of all, it drives revenue because it's an incremental cost, and second of all, it's stickiness. As we know, hello NVIDIA, write something directly to a piece of software, and you might be like, well, Pat, people don't dump FPGAs for ASICs at the low end. For the most part, you're right, but you give them less of a chance and motivation to do that by connecting the software. Last comment, all that software works together between the low end and the mid-range. So I think the company has the potential for a very bright future.